Today is crucial to me and it's a very important day. And what will I be talking about today? I want to talk about the subject matter of management. Management today, for us as a country, is become something that is of a big challenge. Okay? We are unable to manage our country rights, we are unable to manage our family rights, and we are also even unable to manage our businesses rights. And that's why I deem it fit to you today for us to talk about that critical component of management. And at the end of the next few minutes, I will assure you that you will know management and you'll be able to apply it in whatever aspect that you find yourself. There are basically 5 components that are critical and are important in management. What are those components? Number 1, you talk about planning. Okay? You plan. The word seems simple, and people often say that we know how to plan. Our execution is our major problem. So the first component in management is talking about planning. The second component is organizing. I will take my time to break each of them down so that you know how to apply them when you are confronted with management. Okay? You have the subject matter of staffing. How do you staff? People say that in every organization, the most important component of that organization is the human factor that works in that organization. And of course, again, no matter how much you think that you can automate, you need human beings to also build that automation process. Then you talk about the subject matter of leading. How do you provide leadership? And we often argue that between management and leadership, which one is more germane? Okay? Then you talk about the subject matter of controlling. These are the 5 components, and I shall be extracting each of them one by one, by starting with the subject matter of planning. So when you talk about planning, it's deciding what objective to pursue and what to do to be able to achieve that. So the first thing, as soon as you step into management position, we often also argue that everybody is a leader. But again, most critically, once you step into either leadership or management position, what are you going to be looking at? You're going to be looking at objectives. So you set out objectives. Okay? What are the objectives I intend to achieve during my tenure, even as a president, as a governor, as a CEO of a company? So you have to put down those objectives one by one. Okay? Then you now decide, how do I go about trying to see how I can achieve this objective that I've set out to do that. So once you have achieved these components, you set out objectives, then you determine how you are going to achieve those objectives, then you are set to have started planning. Then you now move on to the subject of organizing. In organizing, you talk about grouping and assigning activities and providing authority. Okay, so this is where you break down, in project management we call it work breakdown structure. Okay, you break down the country into ministries, into parastatals. If it's in an organization, you break the organization down now into components of departments. You have a situation today where people move into leadership. They find it difficult to appoint or to group the activity they are supposed to render. Okay, so once you have set out your objective clearly by way of planning, the next thing is to group. And after you group, then you need to provide what is called staffing, which is the human components. Now, here you determine the labor needs. Who are the people that will be working with me to be able to achieve this objective that I've set out from day one? Okay, who are the people? So you look at determine the labor need, then you now do what is called recruitment. Okay, based on the labor need, then you do, of course, selection and choose the appropriate people to work with you. So once you have determined that, the next thing for you to do is to train. Somebody says that if you don't train them, don't blame them. So ensure that whoever is going to work with you in management, okay, whether it's in government, whether it's in a parastatal, whether it's in a company, okay, you must train them from time to time so that they will get to understand what you are supposed to do and how to go about achieving those things. Then the fourth component is the component of leading. Okay, so people often argue, is there a difference between management and leadership? Okay, so when you talk about leading, you are talking about channeling all human behavior towards accomplishing of the objective that you have set. Don't forget that the first thing that we started with is setting the objective. So all energy now of the management to all the staff that you have chosen, you channel all the resources now to be able to achieve that objective which you have set out in day one. So once you have done that, then you are set to provide leadership, which is very, very critical. Okay, so once you have a rightful leader, everybody will toe the line. And whether it's in government, whether it's in parastatal, or whether it's in private sector, body language is critical. Body language is important. Body language is what people are looking at for them to be able to achieve that objective that you have set out from day one. Then the last component we'll be looking at is the component of controlling, which is also very important. In controlling, we are looking at measuring performance against the objective that you have set. Okay, so don't forget the word objective. So every time you find yourself in management, you must set out objective from day one. What are the objectives and how am I going to achieve them? Then at controlling, you are measuring performance against objective and determining the cause of deviation and making corrections. Very important. So if you have set an objective, for example, that I want to do probably 5,000 bots this season. Okay, so at the end of the season, have I been able to achieve that? And in case you are unable to achieve that, the next question you'll be asking yourself, how come? Okay, so you measure performance, which is very important. And that's why I tell people that setting target is critical. Setting targets is very important. It's not only in the financial industry that target should be set. Target should be set in everything. Customer service, you should set target. Okay, wherever you find yourself, set target. This is what I want to achieve this year. How do I want to go about achieving this? Okay, then once you set those targets, then you work towards achieving those targets. In case you're unable to achieve them, then you measure the cause of deviation. What to do is to make corrections, so that again, when you are setting objective for the next year, you will find out the reason why you couldn't achieve those objectives. And I'm telling you today, anytime you find yourself in management, you must follow these five components I have mentioned to you of planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and what? Controlling. Once you are able to achieve that, I tell you, you can manage anything, anytime. Thank you very much for listening to me. We hope to extract more about management in future as we try to see how we can get our people to be better managers. Thank you very much and have a fruitful day ahead.